When Mazda released the completely redesigned 2016 CX-9, it was a trendsetter. It tossed a hand grenade in the boring three-row crossover styling of that era. It forced all of its competitors to wake up and take notice. Well, Mazda may regret that decision because all of its competitors have taken notice. They've all been through revolutions of their own. With all this change going on in the segment, is the CX-9 still the trendsetter it was back then? Well, I just spent a week in a 2018 CX-9 to find out. In 2018, the Kodo design from Mazda is still pretty impressive, but with redesigns coming from the Chevy Traverse and also the Honda Pilot, they're starting to catch up. But let's pay attention to this 2018 CX-9 Signature we have today. Up front, you can see its nice long Signature hood, and this hood is extended by this protruding section up here that kind of makes the front end look a little bit longer than it really is. But then this front end kicks back into this nice chrome grille, and then down below the grille is your darkened chrome underscore that connects the two adaptive LED headlights. When you come down the side here, you have your flared wheel wells that cover up these 20-inch wheels. And further down the side though, things get a little bit boring because it is missing some of the creases and angles that are pretty popular today in the crossover realm. But with that front end as aggressive as it is, this flat side is not as bad as you might think. When you continue out back, you have your nice round hatch that kind of completes the package and makes the lack of creases down the side a little bit more acceptable. Now down here you have your nice wide taillights that kind of match the headlights, and they also protrude out here, giving it a little bit of extra style. And connecting these two taillights is a nice long dark chrome strip, just like what connects the headlights up front. Inside the 2018 Mazda CX-9, the styling from the outside is pretty much carried over. Now there is a little bit of black in here, and some may call this a sea of black interior if it weren't for the really nice auburn touches that Mazda put throughout the cabin. You have some on the dashboard, the seats are auburn and black. It's a really nice touch. Also breaking up that black is your brushed nickel trimming here. You got some dark chrome trimming here, and down here by your gear shifter and over on your doors, you have some real wood trim. So overall, Mazda did a really good job at bringing the outside inside and keeping things consistent. Now, not only is the interior of the CX-9 stylish, it also punches well above its weight class in terms of comfort. The front seats are very comfortable. They are kind of firm, but they're also very comfortable. Everything's placed where you want it to be. Your buttons are right here, well within reach for your infotainment system, your sport mode, and your volume. Everything's right there. There is one issue I have though with this front seat, and that is the knee room. It's really tight. The center console actually tapers inward and hits your knee. No matter what driving position you're in, you hit your knee. So after about an hour or so of driving, it gets a little bit uncomfortable. Thankfully, Mazda realized this is a problem and put a nice little pad here so you didn't have to worry about your knee resting against plastic. So that is a benefit. They did notice it and said, okay, let's put a pad there. Now when you get to the second row seats, they're also equally comfortable, and there's plenty of legroom, about 39 inches of legroom. Getting into the rear seats is relatively easy, but there are a couple issues. First of all, the door opening is a little bit low, so you tend to bang your head if it's a little bit taller. And this one has the dealer installed DVD system in the back seat, the rear seat entertainment system, which is about a $2,000 option. That's great, but the problem is the TVs actually sit off of the seats about 2 or 3 inches, and they're just begging one day to get ripped off while you're getting into the car, or God forbid you try to put a car seat back there. I about ripped mine off putting my car seat back there. So I would prefer if Mazda would swap out the headrest and put the DVD players in there, but this is how they are right now. Maybe they'll fix it in the future. Now let's talk about that third row. The third row is a no-go zone. I mean, this thing is 29.7 inches of legroom, so it is not a place for adults. It's barely a place for kids to sit. So I recommend just folding that down, enjoy the full 38 cubic feet of cargo room you get with those laid down, and don't even bother putting them up because you have 14 cubic feet with them up, and they're useless as seats. Now the tech features on the 2018 Mazda CX-9 are a little hit and miss. There's some good and there's some bad. Now first let's talk about infotainment. So the standard infotainment system on the 2018 CX-9 is a 7-inch touchscreen. Well, this one happens to have the 8-inch because I am driving the top of the line Signature model. It is very crisp, it's very clear, it does have some benefits to it, but one thing I can't stand, and it's the first thing I want to talk about, is how it's propped up here on top of the dash. I understand Audi did this a long time ago, I understand BMW did it a long time ago. It used to be cool, it did. But it is about as hip now as popped collars on pink polo shirts. It's not cool. Mazda needs to rethink that, find a way to integrate it with the dashboard and make it flow with the entire dash. Right now it kind of stands out like a sore thumb. But functionally, it is a pretty good system. It does have the rotary knob down here that when you first get into it can get a little bit confusing. You may not know what the different icons mean, you may not know how to find certain things, you may not know you can actually move it like a joystick and turn it like a rotary knob. So it takes a little bit of learning to get the hang of it, but it is significantly better than a lot of the competitors I've dealt with. Hi Lexus! So it's not that bad. It's one of the better ones in the class. Now also this thing has the Bose audio system, the upgraded system, which sounds fantastic. It is an amazing sound system. It doesn't get too bassy, doesn't get too trebly, doesn't hurt your ears, so it's a really nice balance. And also this has the LED adaptive lights up front, which are one of the things that help it with its IIHS safety ratings. So as you turn your steering wheel, the headlights actually turn with you in the corners. Now I do wish they turned a little bit deeper in the corner, because as you get into a deeper corner, it tends to be a little bit dark on the far end, but overall it's not a bad headlight system. So in the back seat, as I mentioned, this does have the $2,000 rear seat entertainment package. Well, that is wonderful for keeping the kids entertained on long drives and eliminating that "are we there yet" question. It does have some big flaws. So first of all, it does not save any of your settings. So every time you get in the car, you have to restart everything unless you go just plop a DVD in, then it does start the DVD where you ended. But if you use the Miracast system like it has, you're allowed to stream your cell phone screen on that screen. Every time you load the kids, you got to spend 5 to 10 minutes getting this thing loaded up and working. So when you're dealing with screaming children, or if you have a torrential downpour like we have now, you're stuck dealing with that while you're spending 10 minutes getting this thing working. But overall, that system is good. Once you get it functioning, it works very well. It has the option of streaming it through the headphones or streaming it through the speakers. So if you want privacy, you want to listen to the radio while the kids watch a DVD, you can do that. If you want to just play it over the speakers and not worry about the headphones, you can do that as well. So it's a great system, but it does have some serious flaws that hopefully Mazda can fix in the future. Maybe turning this into more of an integrated system as opposed to a dealer installed option could be the solution, like putting the headrest, DVD players in the headrest, making it work from this navigate or the infotainment system. That would be great. So all those would be great improvements to see in the future. Now, when you hear 3-row crossover and 4-cylinder engine put together, you might think the Mazda CX-9 is a big slow pig. But actually, this has a turbocharged 2.5-liter 4-cylinder that injects 250 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. That is a respectable amount of torque out of a 4-cylinder, and for this size vehicle, it is perfect. You also, with that 310 pound-feet of torque, you get a V6-like pulling power that allows this thing to tow up to 3,500 pounds, while also getting 23 miles per gallon combined with all-wheel drive and 24 miles per gallon combined with front-wheel drive. So not only are you getting the power, the acceleration, but you're also getting that fuel economy. Now, being a turbocharged 4-cylinder that's not tuned necessarily for performance, you do notice as it goes through the RPM range and as speed builds, that power does fade. But it sure is fun as hell for the initial dig to take off. This thing makes a great sound and has great pulling power from that initial go. Now, in terms of handling, it's not bad. It's not your typical Mazda zoom zoom, but in terms of the large crossover class that this is in, it actually handles pretty well. And down here you have a little sport mode toggle switch that adjusts the firmness of the steering wheel and also adjusts your shift pattern to hold the shifts a little bit longer when you need a little bit more punch out of the engine. So overall, the 2018 Mazda CX-9 is actually a pretty good crossover. It has some power to it, it gets decent fuel economy, it's got a wonderful interior, and the styling is modern and relatively fresh. But the problem is it was redesigned back in 2016. So now you have things like the brand new Honda Pilot, the new Chevy Traverse, the new Hyundai Santa Fe. These are all getting better than it. They have better powertrains, they have better transmissions, better drivetrains, better looks, more up-to-date technology. So this is starting to fade back into the background a little bit, despite only being a couple years old. So if I had what this model costs, $46,500, would I take it down to a Mazda dealership, lump it on the table and say, give me that car? Honestly, I can't say yes, but what I would recommend is holding off for a few years, because this is due for a refresh with all the advancements that have happened in this class. It's due for a refresh. So give it a few years, see if this gets refreshed, see what it looks like at that point, and then make your decision.
Thanks for watching. Click subscribe for more Insider Car News videos.